Stuck in the Middle. This is your girl, Adele Clarice. Shout out to Stuck in the Middle podcast. We love you guys.
General, I feel like I'm stuck in the middle.
Stuck in the Middle podcast. Big shout out to the family. I'm talking Reflex, aka Achuri, and the rest of the gang. Hey, make sure you bring all your important information, your art, everything in the DMV. Doesn't matter where you are at. Come to the DMV to Stuck in the Middle podcast. That's where it's at.
Yo, welcome to another episode of Stuck in the Middle podcast. I am your host, Reflex. This is a platform for entrepreneurs, innovators, creatives of African descent, where you hear stories, you hear ideas, you hear experiences of how we can break the mold, how we can break barriers. I got a special guest in the building, but before that, this year, 2022, it's our 5-year anniversary. Y'all heard it in the previous episodes, so we're going to keep singing it till June when we got the big party. That's right, we got a big party happening in June right here in the DMV, so please stay locked. We got details coming. If you want to follow us, SitM Podcast on all platforms, SitM Podcast 237@gmail.com. Send us an email, refer guests. Send us an email. We receive a lot of emails about people, you know what I'm saying, wanting to see more diverse voices, and we appreciate those. So hit us up. Listen, I got a special guest in the building. Like I said, she is somebody I've been trying to get on here for a minute. A creative entrepreneur combining her love for art, culture, and natural hair. You might have seen her in your favorite artist's music video and killing it with viral photo shoots on social media. I got Agnes Ashi in the building. Welcome to Stuck in the Middle podcast, yo.
Thank you for having me.
How you feeling?
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You look good. Thank you so much for coming. This has been a minute in the making. I want to take it all the way back to the start. You're first generation Cameroonian.
Yes, I am.
When did you migrate here to the United States? Was it by yourself or with family?
My entire family migrated about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Over 10 years ago. I stopped counting at 10.
Yeah, yeah. Remember when you first moved here, you like, year 1, year 2, year 3?
Now everything just blends together.
Yeah. What, how many siblings did you grow up with?
I have 5 siblings, but I grew up with a bunch of cousins at my house, so I have a lot.
And mostly female, sisters?
Yeah, I have a lot of sisters and one little brother.
What was life like for you growing up, in Cameroon, Northwest region? What was life like for Agnes growing up?
It was chill. I was very adventurous, very observant, and my aunt owned a shop, so I used to go over there and watch her braid hair, and my mom had very extravagant, creative hairstyles when I was growing up, so I remember those specifically from my childhood.
Would you say you were a good student, in school?
No, I can't even say that.
Were you the class clown?
No, I was quiet. I was very quiet, and I think now I know my learning style is different, but back then it's no, you just don't know.
So a lot of girls, and I'm speaking from experience because my sister was one of them. When they're migrating from not only Cameroon, I would say Nigeria, whatever African country, to United States or even Europe, for example, their parents encourage them to learn the art of hair braiding because it's kind of a very good way to make money while you situate yourself here. Was that a path for you?
Not so much. So my dad moved here first, and my mom stayed with us, and later we came here with my mom, but she used to work in the city, so before she went to work, she dropped my sister and I off at my aunt's, so I was there to be babysat, and then I stayed, but my sister would usually leave and just roam around, go to the market, so regardless of the fact that she kept me at a salon, it took the interest in it for me to stay there because I didn't have to. I could have left. So
what was it about? You mentioned your mom had good hairstyles. What else was it about? Was it the way your aunt interacted with her customers, or just seeing women come in and leave looking different that piqued your interest in hair design, hairstyle?
It was the intricacy of the hairstyle, braiding. If you see someone do box braids, it takes a lot of skill, and it was very natural to her because she worked very fast. Before you feel the pain, she's done. So I just, for some reason, that caught my attention. And I also looked at women's faces when they walked into the salon and how they left feeling. So it just felt like a safe space for women to just kind of interact, leave feeling good, and just.
Did you ever say yo, auntie, pull me on, you know what I'm saying? I want to I want to finish the braids or.
Listen, I was not allowed to touch anyone's hair. I mean, I could finish the braid, but I was not allowed to start anyone's hair. I just was. With single braids, it's a lot of braids, so of course they need all the help to finish it.
But you ain't starting it because they don't want it to fall out. And so
I wasn't very good. That's the thing. I wasn't very good when I started.
At some point, like, did the interest like wane? Did it fade, or you always was like, yo, this is something? Because I know when you eventually moved here, you went through high school, went to University of Maryland Institute, and then majored in biology.
I did.
Like, so where in between that did that love for hair braiding or interest in it ever fade?
I wouldn't say it faded. I still braided my friend's hair. I wasn't doing it as a business, but I still did it. Like, I still braided my friend's hair. I think Hilda. I taught her like just little hairstyles to do just to keep up with like protective hairstyling. So it's something I did on the low, but officially, like in school, I studied biology. Yeah.
What was the idea behind that, biology?
What was the idea behind it? You think I had everything figured out?
You know what I mean? No, because especially as first generation, it's like, yo, you go to school, you gotta be a lawyer, you gotta be an engineer or a doctor. So it's medical, law, or engineering. That's where the money's at. For my parents, that's how we indoctrinated. So was that for you, or it was a legit interest in biology?
So I think it's both. It was the more accepted route to go into, but at the same time, I sincerely enjoy life science. So, both.
Did you ever finish?
Did I ever finish?
Yeah,
I did.
You graduated as a biologist. But I know, from reading, also knowing, somewhere in between you finishing, something different happened.
Okay.
And then Agnes, the brand, the person came to be. What happened? Like, what was it for you that clearly like, yo, I'm not going into medicine, and I'm gonna do hair design, hairstyling.
I think it was a moment of introspection that I had to kind of, after graduation, I had to step back and see what route to go into, and I actually went into pharmacy, but I'm really connected spiritually to God when I take on any journey in my life. And I noticed that when I'm on a route that's not really meant for me, there's a lot of obstacles. And on that route through pharmacy school, it was just a lot of unnecessary obstacles. So I just stepped back and just went with what was more natural to me. And the second I followed that route, I don't know, blessings, one after the other. So
what exactly happened? Was it like one day you were like,
it was not one day. It's never just like
it was
a
like
huge
progression.
realization.
Yeah.
No.
Was it outside forces? Was it outside people telling like, yo, you gifted in this, you're blessed in the pursuit? Or it was just like, after a while you were like, yo, I enjoy doing this. I find this like a purpose, and there's happiness, and then you were like, I'm gonna make that switch.
Yeah, so I think it was both. I think I did have encouragement from my friends, but I don't think anyone really knows the full picture of what I'm doing. I don't know the full picture of what I'm doing. So I want to repeat your question again.
I mean, in other words, was there outside, like you taught Hilda, like your friend Hilda, and you at that point, I'm assuming you had done, 1 or 2 or 3 friends' hair, practice, probably watching YouTube videos, just honing your craft. In that, were people, whom you've done the hair say, hey, like you should do this full time?
That's funny. No one ever says, oh, you should become a hairstylist for the rest of your life. I think it's just how people look at the entire skill. It's not seen as high regard as it used to be back in the day. So if you do hair, that's cool, but you probably are in like a more established job and hair is like your part-time thing or it's a hobby.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought now it's more glamorized as opposed to, so it's the other way around.
No, it is the other way around.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So wow. So now, so are you having this conversation now? It's like, what are you doing actually? It's like, your hairstylist, you should have a more traditional route job.
I stopped having those conversations because I think my focus now is different. I'm not trying to convince anyone about what path I'm on right now. I'm just trying to be on my path and go.
So what exactly would you say, if you, this is a hard question, what exactly would you say you do? You're a creative entrepreneur and you have a love for hair design. Is it hairstylist, hair design? Like who is Agnes? If somebody right now is watching who don't know who you are.
I would say I'm an artist. The way I look at hair goes beyond just styling the hair. I want to make a statement. There's something I'm trying to say. So my style of art is a bit bold. I do a lot of research. I enjoy learning about different people, different cultures, and all of that inspires my creative process.
In research, what do you mean? So, like, I know Beyonce got flagged one time. Not Beyonce. Somebody got flagged. They did cornrows. You know what I mean? So
that was Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian, yeah. So before you do like something that's Kenyan inspired, you want to know like what the roots are, and even the name, like what's behind the name, kind of things like that.
Yeah, there's that. But me traveling, I think I used to travel a lot and just kind of expand. Traveling helps you really expand your mind and see who else is out there, because sometimes we get stuck in, I don't know, our little bubble. But once you step out, you really see that it's not that deep. There's other people out there doing things.
Yeah.
But let me get back to repeat your question again, please.
Well, as a follow-up question anyway, how you had your aunt, from watching her, probably trained from her, but then you had to evolve, especially being far away removed from her, miles, thousands of miles away. And now with this idea to go into hair design, hair styling, where did you go next? Was it YouTube? Are you self-taught? Did you, kind of like say, hey, I like this person? Was there somebody you were like, this person does it and I like it and I want to be like that?
The foundational skills were just, practicing, YouTube, self-taught. But building it to become more, I had to kind of step outside of being a hairstylist. There's this artist, I don't know if you know him, he's Kehinde Wiley, and he's a painter. His work is amazing. He did the mural of Obama.
Michelle Obama, yeah, the Obama, yeah.
And
Barack Obama.
His other art, he literally, I think, are you familiar with like back in the day Renaissance type paintings? He takes regular black people off the streets, like in Brooklyn, with like regular everyday street clothes, and he puts them in those Renaissance opulence type of paintings. And the more I looked at his work, he had a very specific way of styling the hair, and it just makes you look at it twice. So outside of just being a hairstylist, I'm looking at art in general. I'm looking at like the cultural relevance of like certain hairstyles.
What are your fears? Like what that's a real question. What are your fears like? And just even going back to like the whole biology things, like I'm gonna be a hair designer, I'm gonna be an artist. Was there fears like, what if this don't work? Or what if this, there's no enough money in it?
What if it does work? That's not my fear. I feel like I already got past all those foundational fears or those fears at the beginning. But I feel directed and I pray about what I'm doing. So I'm truly confident in the fact that it will work. So I don't have those fears. Yeah.
What did you in the beginning think it would be a brand? What was the direction, and
there was no direction.
So what was the first thing you did? What was the first thing in building a business? A person would generally start a business plan. Like, what was the first thing you did? Like, just drop everything, pharmacy wise, medical wise, and it's like, hey, I'm just gonna put myself out there and try to build clientele.
After I dropped pharmacy, I felt pretty lost. So I guess the path back to myself was just tapping back into what I love. And I didn't establish a business plan back then or nothing. I was just doing what I love. Now that it's picked up and it's getting a lot more traffic, I organized it more as a business. But back then I was just doing hair.
Man, how would you advise somebody in your position right now? Like, a girl, dude, person, it's like, man, I'm not finding joy in what I'm doing, and art is what I want to do. Hair design, hair braiding. They follow you. They're watching this right now. What is your advice? What is one thing that you know now that you wish you knew years ago?
I wish I trusted myself, because this isn't like, when I look back to even being in Cameroon, the fact that I took interest to this, and the fact that I kept coming back to this. I already knew. I wish I had trusted myself and be more confident in the fact that this was an actual path. So just trust yourself.
What was the first big taste of success? That first gig where you were like, man, you know what I'm saying? This was a good call. I'm glad I trusted myself. What was that first big taste of like, man, this is, yeah, we here. I'm about to buy my mama's, not a house, you know what I'm saying? Well, you're like, all right, I'm moving out. I'm gone, you know?
Oh, wow.
It was that big taste of like, yeah, that big check.
Let me see. I don't know. So I feel like everything that you see me post is like, is maybe a byproduct of, it's unintentionally a byproduct of where I'm trying to go with this. So to define success, I would need to like say what I've been trying to say with hair in a room. So when I have my exhibition, I would define that as success. But all I've been doing is posting my work, and people have been attracted to it, and you know, I've been blessed to work with so many different people, but that was never my goal.
Yeah. How does that make you feel when, you know, you put, you know, a photo shoot out there, or you work with somebody like a bride, you know, and that people are just like, damn, who did that? How does that make you feel as an artist?
I feel fine. I think the true happiness comes when the client you've worked with is happy with the final product, or they feel kind of regal and majestic, and you know, however way they came to you hoping to feel. When that is accomplished.
From personally, you know, reading, like going through your Instagram, reading comments and, you know, testimonials and, you know, feedback from people, they say, I think that in basketball terms, it's the average. You know, I think the consensus is people really enjoy how calm you are.
How calm
you are when you in your element. Where does that come from? Because, you know, this I think that's a good trait, virtue to have. It's like,
how long have you known me?
Since kindergarten.
Have you ever known me as a person that was not calm?
I think no.
Okay.
So, but when people, you know, your clients, and I think for people that's a shock, not a shock, but that's like, dang, like this is really a good environment. This is a good space. Is that intentional? I mean, that's just who you are. You being yourself, and I encourage people to be themselves. But how important is that for you to just be yourself, set a good space for your clients and things like that?
A lot of times I'm being trusted to create something. Like a lot of times I'm being given creative freedom. So when I'm quiet and I'm working with like 15 minutes to create something amazing, I kind of have to disconnect from everything that's distracting and really focus on getting there. So sometimes I'm just in my zone. I don't talk too much. I just try to get the work done, and after we could talk. Yeah,
you mentioned 15 minutes. I want you to put us in like you know, a recent gig or one of your gigs. Like, is this like a runway? It's like, yo, this person's going out there quick. Like, what you got?
I actually just came from New York Fashion Week, and wow,
you was in New York Fashion Week.
You don't watch my snaps. That's the problem.
Yeah, I ain't been on social media like that. My bad.
But I wrote it down. I wrote it down 2 weeks before New York Fashion Week, and I looked at that little sticky note, and like 2 weeks later I got the email, and I did 4 shows, which...
Time out. So, you wrote it down before getting the call or email?
Yes, I did.
You was like, I want to do New York Fashion Week.
Yeah. I talked to God about it. I said, I want to do New York Fashion Week. I want to be there purposefully. I want to get paid to work New York Fashion Week, because a lot of times you go to things like this to network or just to be in a creative space so you could be inspired. But I wanted to go there with a purpose, so I pretty much had that conversation. I wrote it down and it happened.
Dang, you did 4 shows in New York Fashion Week. Talk about the intensity, like 15, like this person is going out, like what was the experience like?
There's an entire team. There's a huge team. So I was working with hairstylist. His name is Jawara, and he's amazing. Like, if you've seen Beyonce, if you've seen like Naomi Camp, he's amazing. He's an artist. So I got to work on his team, and we pretty much, I think it was about 10 of us, and usually we get like 15 or 20, sometimes 30 models, and everything is fast paced. So you work on this model and then you work on the next one, and you're helping this one with this. Like, we're all kind of in sync, but everything flows because everyone loves what they do and are.
Do you know the looks beforehand, or you just like creating on the spot?
So Jawara is the show I did. Jawara was like the lead hairstylist, so he had the vision and he had the overall vision. He just vaguely explained that to us, and then we kind of step in and make it happen.
How'd you feel after? Like, you know, you back now. It's like, man, I mean, you got a bag, you know, pockets is healthy, but New York Fashion Week in the bag. Like, how is Agnes?
I feel great. I feel like I need to sleep, but I feel great. New York is very fast paced, so every time I go and come back, I feel like I need to recuperate.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it going and coming back in a minute. But before there was New York Fashion Week, there was Essence magazine.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm quoting this straight from your Instagram. You said, you know, hair design is like having Play-Doh in your hands, and you're not limited. You don't want to limit yourself. What was the inspiration behind that look for Essence magazine? It was the one with the pin and the it had the puffs. Yeah. What was the inspiration behind that look?
So I think this is what I talk about when I say like the cultural relevance of certain hairstyles, because if you look back at certain African tribes that still exist like they did back in the day, you see how they style their hair, and you see how important just the entire process of hairstyling is in that community. And those puffs are from a tribe in Madagascar. So a huge part of my creative process is taking those hairstyles and reimagining them and just kind of letting my imagination run with it.
Essence magazine. Was that also, you know, like a written goal, or just like that was just the inception of just?
It was not a written goal, but I put the work out there and they saw it.
Yeah. After Essence magazine, then there was Oprah magazine. No. Before that, there was New York Times, the New York Times magazine, where you styled a bride. I believe this is a couple who met on Zoom.
Yeah.
What went through your head when you saw your name in that publication, the New York Times magazine, when you saw your name in that publication?
It made it real. Like, it made it just real. Because sometimes, like, being from Cameroon, it's like, you know how things are in Cameroon. And then even going to high school, just having your experience up until that point. And it's hard to think or imagine beyond everything you've experienced until more happens. So it was a very surreal moment for me. Like, I used to read Essence magazine, and now my name is in it. It's very humbling.
Yeah. How did you get that? I'm curious with the New York Times magazine, you know, because you do bridal, you specialize in bridals.
I specialize in editorial. I also do bridal. Yeah.
For people who don't know editorial, bridal, you know, what the difference? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but editorial is more like magazines, photo shoots and things like that. Yeah,
so editorial could be for magazines, but it can also be very like avant-garde and like a lot more creative. Bridal is hair for a wedding.
Yeah, for wedding. What is that? Just it? Portraits as well?
Yeah, portraits as well. Creative shoots. I just call all my creative shoots like editorial type shoots. And with the bridals, I can't really do as much extravagance because, you know,
you're limited by what the bride wants.
Limited, yes, but also there's like wearable and then there's art. So you have to have a good balance.
Dang, there's wearable and then there's art. That was a question that just hit me, and then it escaped. Wearable and then there's art. What is the? I'm gonna get to that, but after New York Times, then there was Oprah Daily. This is Oprah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This was another bridal.
That was the same bride. So
okay.
Funny enough, when she reached out to me, I didn't have bridal work on my page at all. I was just posting my creative hairstyles, and she felt like I could.
Go ahead.
She felt like I could, you know. She had a vision for her wedding hair, and she felt like I could do it because of how I push natural hair in my art. So when she reached out to me, we had a consultation, and she came from Philly to Maryland, and I did the engagement hair. And when they did the shoot, Philly magazine picked that up, and then I went back out to Philly to do her wedding, and that's when New York Times picked it up. And I came back home. I was thinking that was it, and then
Oprah
I
Magazine
got
picked it up.
the email from Oprah Magazine because they were doing a story on her. So I went back for that.
What is it? Walk me through the process of somebody interested in Agnes' work to the fans and people who enjoy your work seeing it on in the magazine or on the gram. What is that process like? Is your DMs is like no DMs, or is it strictly email, phone calls? How do you work?
I prefer just like going to my website and sending me a message. Sometimes I don't get to see the DM. Sometimes I'm not on Instagram as much, so those messages don't always get seen as soon as possible. But just going on my website and sending me a message and be detailed, tell me what you want, and then we could schedule a consultation and talk about it.
And then from consultation, where to? Is it Zoom, Meet, or do you do test run? It's like, hey, I want to
run.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I do so many different things. It's hard to just generalize everything.
Yeah.
The process with a bride is different from a process with like a client who just wants a protective hairstyle, or a client who wants like a more editorial creative shoot, or who wants like creative direction with the creative hairstyle.
What are your favorite kind of clients to work with? Like who are your favorite
kind of clients?
Yes.
Those who read like I know it just sounds, I don't know how it sounds, but I try to have my website just say everything.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. I was like, you gotta read books.
No, not read books, but like read what I say.
Yeah.
If you read what I say and
read the FAQs on the Agnes website. Finish.
And then you ask me the same things, like I'm repeating myself. And
what are your least favorite kind of clients to work with? People who don't read.
I wouldn't say I have least favorite clients, but I do prefer clients who are organized. You don't have to be, especially when you're looking for creative direction. I'm doing the organizing for you, but at least have an idea of what you want and what direction you want to go into, and decide if you want to give me creative freedom to just do what I want. If you have any limitations, just communicate that.
Yeah, what was your least favorite experience? Like, it's like,
What's
damn.
with this least favorite?
Hey man, I want to get into the nitty gritty. What's the experience? It's like, gig. It's like, I don't want to go through that again. That was terrible.
I can't think of any. Everything has been a learning experience. This is all new to me, I promise you. So everything is like, okay, we're gonna do this better next time. That's pretty much it.
You've worked with Yemi Alade.
Yes, I have.
How was that?
She's a very lively person.
I think that was the one time where I was like, yo, this person is different. Agnes is different. Because I was literally talking to you, and you was like,
Let me just say that I've known you for most of my life, and it shouldn't take Yemi Alade for you to say.
No. What I'm saying is, like, of course, there's NDAs, and we're gonna talk about it in a minute, but just the way you move, and it's like, whoa. It's like, that is a move. And we had been in communication up until that. Yeah. But how was that? You said she's lively.
She's very lively. So the energy on set is, sometimes you're on set for up to 15 hours, 16, 17, and working with a client who's just like, good energy is super important. So that's one thing I remember about her, working with her. She's just very lively.
Now, you don't work with any old kind of photographer.
What do you mean?
Like, not everybody who has a camera is gonna shoot Agnes' work. Am I right in that? How do you pick who you choose to photograph your art, your work?
So the quality of the picture has to be great, and I'm not just saying that because. I'm saying that specifically because shoots take a lot. They take a lot of time, and different people especially when it's a collaboration, different people come together to make it happen. And the photographer is kind of tasked with the end product being delivered at the best quality. So you don't want to spend like 7-8 hours on set and not be able to have proof of that. So if the photographer's work is clear and just depending on the shoot, like it flows with the style, I'm completely open. And if I have the time, I'm completely open.
Does the same kind of principle apply when you picking out models, clients, people for your editorial shoots?
Not quite. So usually when I have a concept in mind, like when I walk around and I'm inspired by something, I have a concept in mind. I think about like the features that would go well with it, that would complement it, and the model is like a huge part of the hairstyle being what it is, because she or he has to wear it. So when I think of a hairstyle, I think of a model that the hairstyle complements, and that's kind of how I decide.
Not to count you cheap, so get into your bag, but how does Agnes sustain herself? What's the bag like?
You said what?
I said not to count your cheap, so get in your bag. How does Agnes sustain herself?
How do I sustain myself?
Because this is full time for you. This is life.
This is full time.
Yeah.
What do you mean? How do I sustain myself?
Like, what's the bag like? Because the regular life is, hey, I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna do this 40 hours. I know I gotta check every 2 weeks. How does it's the New York Fashion Week. That bag is taking me 2 months, or that bag.
Are we allowed to talk about our salary?
No, we're not.
You want to tell me how much you make a year?
$2. But it's it's good. Like, life is good.
It depends on the type of gig. So it's still being an entrepreneur. Like sometimes you pick something for the learning experience, and sometimes you pick something for the money. So regardless, you get paid in knowledge and networking, or you get paid in money.
Yeah, that's rich. That's a gem. Speaking of networking, do you feel limited by geographical area right now? Speaking of the DMV, is this where you're gonna be for a minute, or it's like, man, I want to go out and see what New York, LA, Europe has for me?
I definitely want to go out, but there are a lot of talented people in the DMV, and I feel like it's growing as far as creatives. So after spending a week in New York, I low-key couldn't wait to get back to the DMV. So I wouldn't say I'm trying to move soon, but I definitely do want to travel and see what other creatives are up to.
We mentioned NDS a little bit earlier, and how you move, how you make your moves, and it's like, like I didn't even see that coming. Just talk. I mean, a lot of your work now, I'm sure there have been NDS, that came with it, like the Snoop Dogg work. How does that work?
You just don't.
This
talk
is just
about
me
it
being curious.
You just don't talk about it until it's released. It's like you're working with someone low key, and then they drop the stuff before you even get a chance to. Like, that's disrespectful. So you wait until the artist drops the work, and then you drop it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm a huge Snoop fan. The Super Bowl, was dope. Did you do his hair or just the models on the shoot?
I work with the models, and one thing I admire about working with these people is just like the work ethic, because that was a crazy day, and Snoop actually lost his mom a couple of days or the day before, and he showed up, and none of that energy was with him. Like, he was still chill, and it's just like I had to take a step back and really admire like dedication to work, because it's very glamorized in the sense when you look at celebrities do their thing, but these people work hard. They work hard.
I want to talk about social media, because there's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. The list is on and on. Do you feel pressure to keep up with posting, because you have grown over the years, especially TikTok, Instagram? Or is it like, I just want to create, I just want to do my art? Is there like I want to keep up with it online? Or
you can't keep up with the online. It would drain you. Well, me personally, it drains. And I had to take like a social media break for not too long ago. I deactivated my personal Instagram and deleted my Facebook, because sometimes you just have to take a break and figure out what you're doing and not get caught up in like what everybody else is doing. But it's really important to stay centered and just be online with a purpose. Like, this is what I'm here to do. Don't get distracted. If you need to like unfollow some people so you don't feel something, do whatever you need to do, but just stay on your path.
I'm sure we know with the success so far, and there's many more to come. There's different skies to crack. There's been some struggles, along the way. How do you overcome those? How do you overcome those times where it's like the phone is not ringing, the email is not, buzzing, or you at at a gig, at a shoot, and the pen is not penning. How do you overcome those times? Like, the hair is supposed to be up and it's falling.
Oh,
like,
wow.
how do you overcome those times?
You kind of flow with it. It's the hair is gonna do what it wants to do. I think you read the comment about Play-Doh.
Mm-hmm.
You keep forming it until it is what you want it to be. So don't panic if it's not looking. You just keep working on it until it gets there.
What's next for you? You just came back from New York Fashion Week.
What's next for me?
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what's next, but I am trying to put together an exhibition. I feel like I've been saying a lot of things with my art, and I just feel like I need to bring it all together in one room. So
Exhibition in what way? Like, there's a lot of art in the room right now where, you have models, like, you're going to style them and then take pictures and then post or have people, like real life people that we style.
I haven't decided yet. Maybe a mix of both.
This is like exclusive. People hearing this first time.
Okay.
I'm asking, is this like...
Yeah, it's the first time I've just openly said it. My friends are probably tired of hearing it because I tend to speak about what I want to do until I do it. So it's going to be just either canvas or framed work. And I want to capture it in a very abstract way that it just looks like art. And I want people to just look at it and kind of feel empowered by a part of themselves.
You have a date?
Not yet.
Is it
Not
this
yet.
year, 2022?
Yes.
Hey, Mass Madness is a lifting, man. You know what I'm saying? We in there. Tell me more. So is it DMV, of course?
Yes, this is where my first show is going to be.
You got a photographer in mind?
Not yet.
But you definitely got some models in mind.
Not yet.
Oh man, let us know how we can help. Stuck in the middle. We want to support. I'm putting this out there. AK, Cheery, Charles, Tutu, Choo Choo, Ines. We want to support.
Well, once I find a date, once I pick a date, then I will let you guys.
You looking for
know.
sponsors?
I actually am.
All right then. Yeah, y'all heard it here first, man. Stuck in the middle. Agnes looking for sponsors for this exhibit. This has been dope stuff, though. I really admire your work. I'm proud of you. I just want to go on the record and say it. I'm proud of you. And there's different skies to be cracked, man. I think we ain't even scratched the surface. So let the people know where they can find you, how people can find you. If they want to learn more, if they want to work, let the people know how they can reach you.
Okay. So you can check out my website, aggiehair.com, or my Instagram is aggie_hair. And you can also find me on Black Untainted. It's a series I'm working on with Jason. And it's going to really get into the history of the art of hair, amongst other things. So we intended for the first season to be about hair. And it's going to branch into other aspects of culture. But we just want to bridge the gap between, Africans and Africans outside of Africa, pretty much. So
I love it. Hey, listen, Agnes Ashi in the building on Stuck in Middle Podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, what you watched, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Do a screenshot, send it to all your peoples on WhatsApp, Twitter, Instagram, all that great stuff. Follow her. Leave a comment. Let us know how you enjoy it. Let us know who you want to come on the show. Definitely check us out because we got our 5-year anniversary this year, 2022, in June. More details on that soon. Shout out to everybody producing this episode. Charles in the building. Couch Talk episode is dropping right after this joint. I am your host, Reflex. Like I said, Agnes, but you have fun. This was
great. It wasn't as bad as
Yo, she was nervous. Nah, this is dope. Shout out to Mama. You made it, Mama. But nah, this is Stuck in the Middle Podcast. I'm your host, Reflex, and we out.
Yeah.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by our online store, SitMPodcast.com/store. You get hoodies, t-shirts, crew necks, all kind of incredible stuff. That's the machine that drives this show, that drives this brand. We appreciate every single one of y'all rocking with us. And definitely, if you want to, get in touch with us, sponsor us, send us an email, SitMPodcast237@gmail.com. We appreciate it. We can work something out.